Renia White est américaine, elle est poétesse et essayiste. Elle est originaire du comté de Prince George dans l'État de Maryland. Et elle vit aujourd'hui à New York, plus exactement à Brooklyn. Elle a étudié la poésie à l'université Cornell, où elle a commencé à enseigner l'écriture. Elle a par la suite enseigné dans plusieurs universités, différents cours, toujours liés à l'écriture, allant de la rédaction de recherche aux études littéraires et critiques. Son premier livre, intitulé Casual Conversation, a été publié au printemps 2022 par BOA Editions et sélectionné pour faire partie de la collection Blessing the Boats, une collection créée en mémoire de la grande poétesse noire américaine Lucille Clifton, lauréate du National Book Award pour son recueil portant ce titre Blessing the Boats. Le premier recueil de poèmes de Renia White nous engage à méditer sur ce qui est dit, sur ce qui n'est pas dit et sur l'origine de tout cela. De son point de vue de femme noire, Renia White sonde les mœurs, les normes des interactions quotidiennes. Par le biais d'observations, de réflexions et de bribes de discours, ces poèmes s'intéressent aux pensées non exprimées qui se cachent derrière notre badinage, nos plaisanteries, nos small talks, remettant en question des concepts que nous avons acceptés et intégrés sans hésitation, que l'on retrouve pourtant partout et dont elles questionnent l'autorité. Ces écrits ont également été publiés dans diverses revues et magazines, notamment The Audacity, la série Poem a Day de l'Academy of American Poets, Poetry Daily, Slice Magazine, The Recluse, NIIN Magazine, entre autres. Pendant sa résidence à Lavigny, elle travaille à l'écriture de son deuxième livre, intitulé Off the Shore of Oneself, qu'elle décrit comme un projet hybride mêlant essais littéraires et poèmes qu'elle entrelace pour explorer le concept, la position off the shore, au large de soi, we would say in French. Renia.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Tommy. I'm very grateful to be here. I'm grateful to Sophie. Grateful to you all. Not stoked about following your wonderful readings, but that's okay. I'll try to do it justice. And if it's okay, I'd like to dedicate my portion of the reading to children, for whom we are all responsible. May we never forget. So I'll read in 3 parts. First from my book, Casual Conversation. I'll read a couple of poems. And the project that I'm working on currently is both poetry and essays. So I will read one of the poems, and then I will read a portion of an essay, and then I'll premiere some brand new poems, just a couple that have never been heard. So please be kind. All right. In this village. In this village, we measure the distance between the prayer and its mouth, the chorus and each of its pains. We know that you can't slice a chorus into some, that if you separate the mouth from what it yells, the yell is just an announcement in the spirit of itself. The kids know well enough to say, why I gotta die to be a body? But then the elders say, I even died in the spirit of being alive. To which the kids reply, I am not here in the spirit of myself or something dead. I came in the thing I pray with and for. And some of the elders cry while playing that old song anew, say, finally, and at last, and in the beginning. So there are 2 poems in the book that take the title Casual Conversation, 2 titular poems, and this is one of them. Casual conversation. I want to see less when I look at a life, but all the buttons and bullets riddling everything. The way we can say, and all the gilding everywhere, and go, My lover's mouth is gilded with my name. My dream mouth gilded with rose gold fronts. My childhood stippled with what we put away. Where we put it and why gilds our town of manifest. My favorite boy shining. My sister out of jail. My mind picks up where I was left. Off the shore of oneself as in. Sometimes you can't stay on your own mainland. Some story of exile, unique each time. A home you feel apart from rather than of. The tiny renegotiation of space and ruler. An aimless God. His insistence on a fantasy of order. The number you call to confirm the time that tells you where to go by putting you there. Horizon beyond the heart you know best. So it hurts. So you learn. The aimless God in you, his lucite throne, the space you've made, what you could imagine from whence you came. So I'll read an excerpt of an essay, which is called The Yellow Car. You don't need to know much other than that it was a hot Brooklyn summer, and I saw a yellow car, and I wanted it so badly, and I did not know why, and so I wrote about it. I wanted the yellow car because I knew I didn't want it in the part of myself that catalogs my desires. There was no hellish screech of an inner child who needed to be soothed and seen. I didn't want it to satisfy me. I knew that it couldn't. That wasn't what it was about. Yellow isn't or wasn't at all my favorite. Whenever folks would ask me what my favorite color was, I would say I didn't have one because that wasn't how I understood color. Most colors are useful and gorgeous, I'd say. They allow us to see a thing that we wouldn't understand the same way in other hues, each one with its particular way of catching light. Some things gotta be purple. I have a sweater that is bubblegum pink that I wouldn't like in lilac, I believe. I also don't drive unless it's an emergency. Please don't ask me what kind of emergencies would yield an inexperienced driver behind the wheel. I truly rebuke it. I had never really wanted anything from a car previously. Didn't know what it was like to want a car to do some other thing with but this, to want through it. I wanted the yellow car because I wanted something in that moment to make use of, toward a want I could articulate. And something about the shade of yellow I couldn't quickly identify, gracing a make of car I'd probably never properly categorized, told me that I still believed what I always did. I was not an entirely new animal. I had let the car be something greater perhaps because I didn't tell myself what yellow could do for me. It was also funny to want it. I like that. I've always been a big fan of humor. I'm drawn to a certain kind. Sometimes even the scariest folks, all I have to do is say something that tickles them enough, and now they are disarmed. There was this one time in elementary school. Walking home in a bushel of latchkeys, we made our way down County Road, all feet in thick chatter. I was often fine with being among it all, just in the midst of the crowd being carried. And when the attention turned to me, I usually could send it elsewhere just with a word or two. It wasn't often, though. And on a particular day, I now remember in a dull yellow tinge, someone had joked that my family didn't have a car anymore. They'd seen us walking to the grocery store and put two and two together. And it was funny. Some sort of humor just beyond me because of what I could see, as well as what I couldn't. And they all laughed, and I wanted to know how they knew to. Where was the funny located? In us? The missing car? The walk? And when I tried to make sense of what the yellow car was keeping, that moment's door was tugged ajar. I had tried to make sense of that too, and there were cars involved, and it had successfully escaped me, where the humor began, the way the yellow car's real story had. And even though I never figured out what was funny about being carless in a city that wasn't walkable, I can't explain it, but the yellow car's implaceable nature made it all right. Wanting a yellow car feels the same funny as children who don't know what they're laughing at. And there I was, opening a box the same size as what it held. And the yellow car didn't even have to be mine to make it happen. All right. Now for new poetry. This one is titled Chiron, after the archetype, the figure from Greek mythology, who is known as the wounded healer. Chiron. When I thought I was only sad, anger shot an arrow in my eye path, and I saw my maker. Hand on the wound she thought was fury, learning sorrow, even sorrow. Nowhere to run, way to know the proper prayer, editing requests from the universe for possibilities, afraid what's called in could come as asked, yet different. The Versailles gift of many, to describe the familiar a new way, I've attempted a cajillion, most recently configured. If I don't choose the worst part of myself, I can heal or win. This last poem is for my best friend and her daughter. What we will share, for Deshez and Davy. Sunsets and sliced nectarines. A French press whose glass we graze for warmth. Knowing glances in the eye of empire. Your daughter's hands, crossing the path, stalling to squeeze, slowing to catch her before worry or understanding. We will walk, smooth, unobstructed. We will clasp the dream after waking and bring it here. Divine luggage, our rescue garden, the great tree that guards us. Last night, so many tears, the dead a raft upon sea, you across the dream garden, preening and humming summer walker. Canary sweet, gold as jewels, dull or new. What can destroy us here was always within the other. Our glances a riot, frank in the hand of a friend. Some drifter listening to our wind to see which way we'll tread. I am in a bed of ready for you still. Your baby girl will know this grass, feather soft. She will not climb a moving mountain. Our steps precede her. We've made the way. Thank you.